What's going on, friends? If you haven't noticed that over the years, Harley-Davidson has really toned down their factory paint, colors, and options. Things just aren't as wild and crazy as they used to be. Pretty much all you can get today is just a solid color. It's not like back in the day when you could actually get a little bit more special, a little wilder paint, and you didn't have to get a paint set or buy a CVO to get it. Now, this is definitely not the case today, as pretty much Harley-Davidson has transitioned over to just solid colors, and honestly, there's not a whole lot of creativity anymore when it comes to the paint jobs on the Harleys. Not to mention, they've also reduced the color options. So, is this a cost-saving measure by Harley-Davidson, or has something dramatically changed and there's something else going on here? Harley-Davidson is all about customization, and I appreciate a high-quality airbrush custom paint job on a Harley motorcycle. Now, back in the 90s, 2000s, even all the way up to 2016, you could get some pretty wild graphics and color options from Harley-Davidson. Unfortunately, with today's Harley models, there's really just solid colors and an emblem of various designs stuck on the side of the tank. They're not doing anything close to what you used to be able to get years past. The bikes are really kind of plain anymore compared to how they used to be. Now, it's really easy to say, well, this is a cost-cutting measure, they're giving us less, charging us more, and don't get me wrong, Harley-Davidson is really good at that. But I feel like there's a little more to this in the fact that Harley-Davidson sales have slowed. They're not offering as many color options, and they're just not moving as many bikes, so the goal for the company is to basically make more on every motorcycle that they sell. And by doing this, Harley-Davidson needs to kind of tone things back to be able to appeal to a much wider audience. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm all for customizing your Harley-Davidson motorcycle and making it your own. Now, when it comes to the paint, just like right out of factory Harley-Davidson, you gotta be really cautious and careful how crazy you get with those custom paint jobs. There may come a time when you decide to part with the motorcycle for financial reasons, maybe you want to trade it in or sell it and just get something different. But as many of you may know, trying to sell a motorcycle can be pretty difficult sometimes as it is. Let alone trying to trade a bike in at the dealer, because I'm sure many of you are well aware that Harley-Davidson dealer doesn't want to give you anything for the motorcycle. They want to give you pennies on the dollar, and then they want to turn around and make 10 grand on the bike selling it to somebody else. Now, the issue is with custom paint, or maybe even a wilder factory custom color, Harley-Davidson dealers are immediately going to recognize this, and they're going to look at that, and they're going to kind of gauge the difficulty of what it would be to sell this motorcycle for them. The wilder you get with the paint job, like say you want to put your favorite cartoon character on the bike or something like that, what you've essentially done there is you've really narrowed your market down of who would be a prospective buyer for that bike. There's only so many people out there that may like Tweety Bird on the fairing. Now, as I mentioned, dealers are very cautious about this and what they'll give you for a bike, especially if it has custom paint. That's a lot harder for a dealership to move a bike with a wild custom paint job or a personal graphic painted on there than it would be to just sell a bike that's just a plain matte black finish. So two things you're looking at here if you go with a really wild custom paint job is that the market's narrow and you may not get what you want to get out of the motorcycle just because people don't want to pay extra money for something that you like, but they don't necessarily like, and they love everything else about the bike. So you might have to be prepared to take a lot less money than you were in it for, especially if you get somebody that's willing to buy it, and the only thing they're not crazy about is the paint. Not everyone is into unicorn farting flames and skulls with laser eyes in them. That's not everybody's thing. Now, I realize that's a pretty extreme example, but I think you get the point. For sure, one thing that you could do if you want to add some custom touches to your solid color motorcycle, put a graphic on there, something that really makes it yours, is to have it painted on top of the clear coat. This way that if you decide to take that off, you try to sell the motorcycle, it could easily be professionally buffed off. But if you decide to do that and put a clear coat on top of it, you're pretty much stuck with it at that point, unless you're willing to strip all of that off and get it completely repainted, and that adds a lot of cost, especially if you're trying to sell the bike, but then you can't sell the bike, you made it harder to sell because of that graphic you got on there. Custom paint jobs are all well and good. I love a tastefully done paint job, But as we mentioned here, the issue is if you ever decide to sell the bike or you want to trade it, you want to be in a position where you can put that bike back to something that's going to appeal to a wider audience pretty quickly and easily. Now, don't get me wrong, there is an ass for every seat, and somebody may walk up and absolutely love the flame-farting unicorns and the skulls with laser eyes on it. I'm not one to judge anybody. I personally liked a lot of the wilder colors and options that they had from Harley-Davidson back in the day. They had some really pretty, unique paint jobs that came as an actual color option on the bikes without having to buy a paint set or go out and get a CVO. Harley-Davidson just kind of quit doing this for the simple fact that I believe the sales slowed, and going along with their new strategy of selling a bike and being able to make more on that bike, they have to make that bike appeal to a wider audience, and that's why we're really seeing a lot of just plain solid colors these days. Now, Harley-Davidson does from time to time offer limited edition paint that you could buy the bike with. There's always the paint sets that they come out with every year. They're numbered. They only make so many of them. Granted, they're extremely expensive. They add about $5,000 to the bike, whether you're buying just the paint set or you're buying the bike that's already in that special edition color. But the reason why they do that is Harley tries to make things collectible by putting numbers on it, and honestly, they're not really that collectible, even though they are numbered and were sold in limited numbers. Now, that's not to say that not all bikes and colors were that way. So if you guys can let me know down in the comments any limited number paint sets or special edition color options out there that are actually highly sought after, I'd like to hear about them. It's really sad to see the wild custom factory paint jobs kind of go the wayside. For example, the Hard Candy custom line. They had all the flake in there. They had the flames on them. A lot of cool graphics and designs. I'm really sad to see Harley-Davidson get away from that, and that not even really being an option anymore right out of the factory. I mean, personally, I thought those were beautiful, beautiful colors. Now, if you're into the wilder colors like I am, there was a color that Harley-Davidson offered, radioactive green. Really cool color. It appealed to me. It was bright. It stood out. But it really just didn't appeal to a very wide audience, and I recall seeing any of these bikes that were painted in radioactive green. They were kind of hard to sell, and they sat on the showroom floor till the right person came along. Well, guys, I want your opinion on custom paint jobs. Do you like the wild colors? Do you like the extreme paint jobs? Would you even consider buying a used motorcycle that's got some kind of a wild paint job on it? So guys, I want to hear your opinions on paint jobs. Do you guys like the wild paint jobs? Do you like the milder ones? Would you even consider buying a used motorcycle with a custom paint job? How much is too much to you? Let me know down in the comments. But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But till next week, guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.